Hey there, welcome to Cincy Stripe stream number 10. We will be going over some good stuff today. It's just, oh, that was a good one, wasn't it? So, yes, we will be talking about the really awesome victory over the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the best team in football, the obvious, hands down, no competition for MVP. Just throw it in the ballot box right away, right? We're going to be talking about that. We will also be talking about kind of looking ahead towards the Browns game coming up this Sunday, and gonna enjoy this. So, gonna ring the bell here real quick on the tweet books and the face grams and the things of that nature. You sound so old when you say that. You're such a boomer. Yep, don't care. No, I'm not a boomer, but let's see here. Alrighty, there's that one. Let's go to the hmm. Alrighty. So we have rung the bell, put it out there for all of the kids on the interwebs and things of that nature. And so, um, it's been about a week. Daughter's birthday party went real well. Happy about that. Everybody had a real good time. And then ended up making kind of game day food. I hosted this time. Me, my buddy Dave, and my brother in law Eric, we tend to kind of, not perfectly, but we tend to kind of rotate. And since I'd already had a party at my house the night before, uh, what's hosting a few people the next day? So I did Skyline. Did Skyline. We did dogs, coney dogs, and had a little chopped onion, had a little mustard available for those who partake. Me, and but we did. I can't remember. Did I do? I think I did Nathan's hot dogs. Um, Even steamed the buns. Just like that was actually my first job with Skyline Chili. So I actually tried to bring out as much of that as I possibly could. Had a pot that has like a steaming rack, and so steamed buns, got the dogs all sizzled up in a cast iron pan, and um, had some shredded cheese and some Skyline, and we had dogs and beer, of course. But that turned out good, and of course the game turned out even better. The only downside, the only I don't know, mild negative, was games leading up to our game. Um, the AFC North didn't lose as much as I was hoping for. I wow, the Broncos are bad. They couldn't beat the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. That is pathetic. And I know the simple and easy thing is to go, well, Russell Wilson's washed. It's possible. I can't sit here and tell you for sure he is, because the problem is it's also really looking very likely that he has a coach who has absolutely no idea what he's doing. I mean, 100% over his skis. Not only offensively speaking, but team management, game management, time management, clock, all that stuff. I mean, Russell Wilson wasn't this bad his last year with the Seahawks. Maybe it wasn't that good, but I mean, this is kind of crazy for him to be this bad, right? So I don't know what's going on there, but the fact that they couldn't hold off an absolutely handicapped Ravens team, it's just pathetic. It's just beyond pathetic. So anyway, but the rest of but the actual game, the game we were concerned about as Bengals fans, let's just say I do have some notes, because I'm kind of working an outline format. Whether it's just going to be me, eventually maybe I have a guest on the stream, whether it be consistent or some kind of a rotating set of guests. I would like to, interactively talk with, with another person. Got a buddy who's I'm working on. I'm trying to get him to get on here, and just get in the saddle. You know who you are. But I forced myself to come up with something that was like, okay, well, what's the I don't know, what could they have done better? It was a little difficult this week, not because it was an absolutely perfect game, but it was a little difficult this week. So you know where you're at. This is Way of the Dad podcast, Cincy Stripe stream number 10. And obviously, if you're new here, please like, share, subscribe. I know it's like the most cliched thing you'll hear from a YouTuber. And, I get tired of hearing it when I watch the streams and the channels that I follow. But unfortunately, it really is the best way to get channels to grow. YouTube does not promote small channels. They do not push them. And it's not because they're trying not to, or at least not, I don't know, they might be. But it's mostly because the algorithm. The algorithm is just, I mean, you type in something random into your search history, like bench vise restoration. There's a stunningly large number of videos out there of people taking old bench vices, stripping them down, taking them apart, cleaning them up, scraping off the old paint, repainting them, re-greasing them, reassembling them, really gorgeous stuff. But once you've watched one, you're going to get like 10 more. And then if you watch even 2 or 3 more after that, you're going to get like 100 more. And that's kind of a microcosm. So like, share, subscribe. It really does. It is the key to small channels getting bigger. And it's the only way to get traction. Obviously, I hope you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I try to at least 24 hours ahead of time schedule my live streams. Typically, I do them on Thursday nights, unless I have some kind of a scheduling conflict or something. But so far, I've been pretty good about live streaming every single week, except for the bye week, of course. So, on Twitter, Way of the Dad Pod, P-O-D, is the Twitter handle. Facebook, Way of the Dad Podcast. Wait. Is it Way of the Dad Podcast on Facebook? It is, yeah, it is Way of the Dad Podcast. Yes, that is correct. And, so, it's really, you know, important that you whichever social media outlet you really like. It is on Instagram too, Way of the Dad podcast. I admit I don't do as much on Instagram. I do at least try to cross post. I have discovered the Meta Business Suite, which is actually pretty nice when you're trying to post to both accounts and all those things. Um, so let's see here. Make sure I'm on vibrate here, or well, silent. So, so obviously, that's important to help this grow. Sharing the videos makes a big difference. Sharing it on your particular feed, because as much as I try to follow, especially on Twitter, or be in as many groups as I can be, that's just I can only do so much. And so when you share the video, that helps. That puts it into a different different stream of the internet, so to speak. And yeah, so um, nothing major changing yet. I probably will be opening up the dedicated channel for these Cincy Stripe streams fairly soon. I'm working on. I got to work on a logo. I will not be. I probably won't be. I might end up dual streaming. It depends on what software I use. I might end up dual streaming. Um, if I change to StreamYard, right now I'm using OBS and I'm really happy with OBS. And it can do a lot of things, but it's so manual. I mean, you have to manually do so much. I know there are other ways to do certain things, but it's compared to something like StreamYard, there's a reason why it costs a little bit of money. And so it's like you get what you pay for type thing. We'll see where I get to at that point. But I will eventually be mirroring all these Stripe streams from here onto the other channel. Eventually, just transferring Bengals related content to that channel, and moving it off of the Way of the Dad main channel. But I will still promote it on here, social media wise and everything else. I'm not going to start a whole nother social media account. I don't know, maybe down the road. So, drink of the night. All right. Let's see here. What's this sound? Oh, that's ice cubes. And so what does that mean? That means it's not beer tonight, boys and girls. Tonight, we have Red Bush. He said Bush. Yes, Bushmills Red Bush. I have had the Black Bush on here before. Get your Snickers out of the way. There you go. Good. So Red Bush is their Irish whiskey, but has been aged in bourbon barrels. Aged in former American bourbon barrels. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So it is it's kind of blending that Irish whiskey and American bourbon together. It is really, really delicious. Ooh. Man, that's like 2.5 fingers deep, right? Get some more Snickers and chortles out of the way. Not bad. Like that color. Cheers. Tagai. Delicious. Okay. All right, so let's get down to it. We can quit fiddly farting around here. So obviously, you know, the game ended 27-24. Last week I said I was predicting 34-31, which I knew it was close. I didn't know it was identical. I couldn't remember off the top of my head when I said it. But that was exactly the same score as we beat them in the regular season last year. Well, technically early this year because that was January last season, right? Um, I was correct about the 3-point spread. I was correct that it was a field goal game. I felt that in my bones. I'm not lying. That's not me being hyperbolic and just simply running a victory lap because I just happened to be accidentally right. I really, really, really did feel that it was going to be a 3-point game, and of course it turned out to be such. So, I did not know that it was going to be exactly the same score as when we beat them in the AFC Championship, which is it's kind of nice, isn't it? That's really nice. Um, that's really kind of rather pretty that we beat them exactly the same score as we beat them in the AFC Championship. So, um, so it was a 3-point spread, which is what I called it. I think Vegas said 1.5 or something like that. And again, I'm not an expert on that stuff, but I just felt like it feels like it feels like a field goal game. You know, it's going to be a 3-point something, and I did call it for the Bengals, but I called it just a little heavy on the point count, and it was exactly the game you would expect from two of the best teams in the NFL, and even the national flappy jaw talking heads are having trouble keeping the Bengals out of that conversation because there's just too much proof, film, tape, live actual games being played that show it, that the Bengals are for real. Despite the, very rough and less than ideal start this season, this is a real team. And they really don't care who you are. And they don't care how good you are. And they don't care if you've already been basically crowned the MVP of the season before you even threw a pass in the regular season. They don't care. They don't care if your head coach, is considered to be like the mad genius of offense of the NFL. They don't fucking care. This team does not give a shit. Joe Burrow doesn't care how awesome you are. He doesn't care how who's on the other side, who's throwing the balls on the other side. He doesn't care who's rushing on the other side. And he can do that. He didn't last year either, but he was aware of who was coming after him because the line was really bad. He doesn't have to as much this year because it's looking like the O-line is figuring shit out. The O-line, I'm just going to get right into my takeaways. The O-line was awesome. Oh my God, they were awesome. I mean, he was sacked one time, if I remember correctly. That's all I have on it. Last time I checked, unless I don't know, maybe they threw another one in later or something like that. There we go, scores. He was sacked once. And that's because it was basically a broken play at the end of the game. And instead of trying to do something risky, although I wish he had thrown it away, but I guess in his mind, in his moment, he felt like if I try to throw this away, they're going to knock it out of my damn hands. So fine, whatever. He basically just sat down. Like, here, I give up. You got me this one. I'm coming back. And I'm going to absolutely murder you on the next play. Because that's what he did. Let's see here. What did they credit? What did they credit to them? Come on. NFL.com, you're kind of slow in loading. You got too much shit going on in here. Let's do stats. We're gonna... Okay, there we go. Chiefs. Defense. I know they got a sack. They don't. They tackled for loss, but they don't credit any sacks to the Chiefs. That's really strange. Huh. I could have sworn they called that a sack. But anyway. But other than that, second to last real play, and I'm not counting the victory formations, Burrow had, he had all kinds of time back there. He was dealing. And it was all because of those big boys up front. And tight ends and Samaje and Travion when he was in, doing their job, picking up those blitzes, pass protections. But they weren't just great in pass blocking, they were great in run blocking. When you've got these flapping jaws on ESPN and FS1 and CBS Sports and NBC Sports and all that, and you've got some of these former players, and they're breaking down these run blocking plays that broke out, that got Samaje out and even got Joe out one time on a broken RPO. The one where we were all like, what the hell is Joe doing running the ball? And then he takes that kind of not really good feeling hit at the end of it, and we all probably collectively held our breath until he popped right up. That was, they're showing the O-line being really, really good at pass blocking, and at run blocking, I'm sorry. And, these guys were great. And a little bit of trivia. Who knows who the offensive lineman, and I'm this is just from what I read, I didn't read it compared to the others. Who knows the offensive lineman, that the only one from Sunday's game that had a clean sheet? Literally no mistakes, 100%. Nope. Cordell Volson, the rookie out of Little North Dakota State. He was clean the whole game. Say what you will about that. And of course, this leads to my next takeaway, Perine. Perine continues to run hard, mean, and violent. And there was one play where he was running. He ran. Let's see, from the offensive side of the ball, he ran to the right. Or no. Wait a minute. He caught a screen pass. I'm sorry. He caught a screen pass, and he ran off to the right sideline and made the guy miss, and then just leaned down and just blew up a DB trying to stop him. Just ran right over him like a Mack truck. Of course, it was right on the edge of the sideline. Another I think it was a safety there, got him out. But, just runs with authority. And, it was just awesome. And then Perine's stiff arm from hell made another appearance as he put Justin Reed, the guy who didn't know the names of the people that he was going to be, locking down. The guy thought he was going to lock somebody down. He didn't even know. He was talking about Higbee, like Tyler Higbee, who plays for a whole totally different team. And he didn't lock shit down. He got locked down. Perine locked him down into the ground with his stiff arm. And almost won stiff angry runs 2 weeks in a row on Good Morning Football on NFL channel. And but yeah, so that was awesome. Next one, Chase is back. I'll tell you what, I know that everybody said, and even Jamar admitted it himself, he was absolutely exhausted after the end of the game. Because, of course, he's not really been able to do much. He's had to be basically off that leg for like 4 weeks. he didn't look like he had been off it for 4 weeks. I mean, he was flipping and jumping and hurdling and all kinds of, acrobatic stuff out there, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And it was nice to have him back, and it was nice to see with him back, it wasn't just, okay, we're just going to keep throwing everything to Jamar and hope he can catch it. Burrow was still just dealing it around. Everybody. It seems like almost everybody got a little piece of the action. I don't know if everybody got a piece of the action, but it felt like it. Let's see here. Who caught passes? Jamar, Tyler, Samaje, T, Mitchell, Wilcox, Hayden Hurst, Trenton Irwin, Chris Evans. I mean, what'd we leave out? Stanley Morgan? Trent Taylor? Yeah. That's what we left out. That's it. I don't know who else is eligible. Asiasi? Devin Asiasi, the other tight end? Maybe we forgot him. Okay. But yeah, it was really, really awesome to see Chase back out there and to see, him back out there, his presence and what it does to defenses. Didn't like his unsportsmanlike conduct because as soon as I saw him doing the old, money thing, and I'm not quite sure because it was really more about Justin Reed was talking crap about Higgins and Hurst kind of somehow together, even though they're totally different players. But again, he didn't know who he's locking down this week anyway, so whatever. But yeah, Chase is back. He looks great. His conditioning is only going to get better as he gets ramped back up. Obviously, cannot go without saying that Lou and his defense continue to live rent-free in the minds of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Absolutely lives rent-free. I mean, I don't know if there's another defensive unit in the league that maybe makes Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid lose sleep like the Bengals do. It's crazy we're talking about this because I remember being a Bengals fan of, during the Lewis years, whether it be the Palmer or the Dalton years, and it's so weird to talk about my team like this, but I'm not complaining at all. But whatever it is, he's got the secret sauce back there somewhere. And the defense continues, despite missing Cheeto, this defense plays awesome. Cam Taylor-Britt and Eli Apple, yes, I know the name that nobody likes to hear, and I don't care because the stats do not lie. In this game, they both played awesome. Cam Taylor-Britt is starting to look like a massive find in the second round. I don't know long term, but it certainly looks like it's projecting in that way right now. Time will tell, but the kid is just doing awesome. And Eli is doing his job. He is holding up very well. It's not the way the season was supposed to go, but it's the way it is going, and it's working. Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt continue to be absolutely game wreckers. The D-line kept Patrick Mahomes bottled up all afternoon. That's hard to do. It's really, really hard. And then there was a hit that Von Bell laid on somebody. It was after they made the catch, and they held on to the ball. But, man, I'm telling you, he lost a few fillings fell out of his teeth after that one. That was a hit that's like you could hear it. You could hear it through the TV, feed, the speakers. That you can hear the crack of the pads hard. I mean, just stood up, ran into him, and knocked him down like he wasn't even there. There we go. A little cord management issue here. There we go. Okay. But yeah, the defense is just phenomenal. They're always going to the ball. Jermaine Pratt definitely deserved that game ball that he got because Travis Kelce does not fumble. And I was talking to, during my day job, I was talking to somebody, and I guess they were a Chiefs fan, and they gave credit where it was due and all that stuff, and we had a a fairly honest conversation about it. But the thing that I told this KC fan that bothered me was the way they talked about the fumble in the Monday morning shows, basically the daily shows that come afterwards, where they're talking all about it and they're trying to find some kind of cool little wrinkle in the game to highlight and make a big deal out of. And they kept talking about, well, Travis Kelce fumbled. Now, if I told you such and such player fumbled, in your mind, you've already got a picture of what they did. You're either thinking they had the ball, ran with it, tried to tuck it away, and then, I don't know, got a case of the Butterfingers and it flopped out, or they tried to switch it from one hand to the other and slipped out or something like that. Like, they fumbled up in and of themselves on their own. And that's disrespectful to Travis Kelce. It's also disrespectful to Jermaine Pratt. Because that man went in there and worked. I mean, he went to work. And that's two grown men literally doing everything they can to stop the other from doing what they want to do. And Jermaine Pratt ended up winning out. He pulled that ball. He forced a fumble. And that's what it should be called. It should be called a forced fumble. And I'm talking about by these, flappy jaw people, on they get paid way better than I do, by the way. Lighting's better. I mean, my lighting's okay, but let's be honest. I'm pretty sure everybody out there knows my lighting is not nearly as expensive, and I don't have a big fancy stage, and, I'm not on national TV, right? But I'm going to call it a forced fumble because it gives the proper amount of respect to what happened on that play. It wasn't like Travis Kelce just running around and, just slips out. No. A grown-ass man came in there and ripped that puppy out of there. And it wasn't easy. So, I feel like, give the man his respect, Jermaine Pratt, and also respect that Travis Kelce, who doesn't ever normally fumble a ball, well, he didn't just fumble the ball. It was ripped out of his grip. That's grown-ass man shit right there. So, I don't know. Just, that's a little irritation to me, is that these keep going, well, if Travis Kelce hadn't fumbled, like, did it look like he had a choice? Did you watch it? Travis Kelce had like 2 to 3 Bengals on him, and one absolutely going after that ball. Whatever. Last little tidbit takeaway. Burrow was as good as he was in the Titans game. He was so much better this past Sunday. He really, really was. He was patient, surgical, absolutely pinpoint, laser-guided, scalpel on the field surgical. Don't know why I just blended all those together, but whatever. It's going to work, and you know what I mean. He was absolutely just on it the whole time. He was dropping balls, just dropping just laser-guided balls right into little windows where only the receiver could get them. And half the time, these receivers caught them, and it was not uncontested. They had that 3rd and 11 play, and that's the easy one to go to, but the 3rd and 11 play that sealed the game in the 4th, T. Higgins looked like he was given a Kansas City cornerback a piggyback ride. And then still caught the damn ball. And that was over the head of and I can't remember who the Bengals receiver was there, and a linebacker who was covering that receiver, and it was right over their head. And it was literally probably 0.2 of a second before he got blew up by a rusher. That last play is a microcosm of how good Burrow was the whole damn game. He just was. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've watched all the football of all time. I know all I can say is I've really paid attention. I've been a fan of the Bengals since I was a kid. Of course, like I said, during the 90s, there wasn't exactly a lot to talk about, and there wasn't really a lot to get pumped about. But when Marvin Lewis came to town, and I will always credit him with this, it was obvious very early on that something was different about this team. For the first time in an extremely long time, there was some level of legitimacy going on here, some level of we don't totally suck going on here. And that's when I really started paying attention to football. And, you know, I can't sit here and say I've seen everything. But I've seen most of the good quarterbacks, at least during, the last 25 some odd years. And there are only a couple quarterbacks that I can think of when I was thinking of what does Joe Burrow look like out there today? And you know the names. Tyler Boyd said the names, by the way, when he was talking about before leading up to the game. What does he think of the Burrow and Mahomes matchup? He said it. He said it's Brady and Manning as far as he's concerned. Yep. There's some of that in there. There's some of that with Burrow. When he has just a little bit of time, not even a lot of time, he is just absolutely surgical. And he will murder you on the field. He'll murder you with the big plays. He'll murder you with the small plays. If it has to be he has to hand it off 58 times, that's what he'll do. He doesn't care. He's going to do whatever he has to do to make sure that they get the W, and then the other team goes home. And as good as he was in the Titans game, he was even better this Sunday. He's even more on point. He was scary good. Absolutely phenomenal. So such a good game. So I forced myself to write something, to come up with something for room for improvement, or maybe what wasn't so good. For the defense, I guess I would say, and this isn't to be funny, but create more turnovers. And of course, there's ways you can do that, and sometimes you create turnovers by just simply forcing them to throw it out of bounds on a third down, and forcing them to punt. That's turnover. I mean, not the way they score it in the box score, but it's a turnover. But also putting pressure on the quarterback and forcing him to make bad throws. Things like what Jermaine Pratt did to Travis Kelce. Yeah, more of that. Sure, great. But those don't always come easy, and those are hard. Those are hard to do. But I love that the Bengals are looking for the ball. They're looking to pull it. They're looking to rip it. They're looking to pick it out of the air. Sack the quarterback. Do a sack strip. Pick six. Or, sack strip, recover to the end zone. Whatever. And for the offense, with Chase back, I would like to see, and of course this won't be able to happen with anybody, but I would like to see them add back in those big play shots. Those big 30, 40, 50-yard killers, or sometimes all the way to the house. I'd love to see those. So, final thoughts. Here's what this game does. I mean, it's hard to say. It's kind of like, it's almost like pinch me. Is this real? But the number 1 overall seed is in play. When you look at they show the current playoff seeding graphic. They love to show that, right? Look at how many of the teams we beat on there. We beat the Jets. We beat Miami. We beat the Titans. And we have now beat the Chiefs. We haven't beat the Ravens yet. We're gonna. And we haven't beat the Bills because we haven't met them yet. And I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but I'm feeling more bullish about that game. Just, how can you not? How can you not feel good about it right now? But the first seed is in play. Bills have a rough division, believe it or not. Miami's not a joke, and the Jets they're not bad. I mean, I don't think they're better than the Bills necessarily, but they're good enough to beat the Bills. So the first overall seed is in play. Or the number one seed, whatever, not first overall. Number one seed is in play. And then that means, bye week and home field throughout the playoffs. That's huge. Division championship is in play. Lamar is out. How long? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? We don't know. We know it's not season ending. They've announced that. But they're calling them basically week to week at this point, which means it could be 1, 2, or maybe 3, something like that. Obviously not bad enough to bother putting them on an IR. So IR with a chance to return, I mean. So the division is definitely in play. And we've got, we've got the chance. It's all there. It's in front of us. And this team has just continued to get better and better and better. And the offense is looking more dynamic. The defense is looking just top notch. The way they play fast, they play smart, they play hard. It's really awesome. It's a really awesome time right now to be a Bengals fan. So, yeah. All right, let's take a little break real quick. Let's see here. Get prepped up for the Brown stuff. This Red Bush is not bad. It's really good. I enjoy it. A little bit of bite, but it's overall fairly smooth and drinkable. Okay. 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 Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, wow. Just pulled up Facebook. Apparently Baker Mayfield is playing tonight. That's how bad things are. Already playing. All right, so let's get into the second half of the show. Obviously, if you have not already, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, definitely share these videos out. If you miss it while it's live, still go ahead and watch it and comment. I will get back to your comments. I get notifications on that kind of stuff. Be happy to get back to you if you have questions or comments or anything. Oh, Travis. Okay, we got a comment here. Travis, all ladies watching, be careful this week as the Predator is in town. Oh, gosh. Travis, that's golden. Did you see, I saw a meme, and it was a picture of Deshaun Watson. It says, "I'm coming to town. It's not a threat. I'm just legally required to let you know." Oh my gosh. That's good, Travis. That's really good. Oh gosh. Wait, you're not talking about the alien predator that you know, the one you know, the predator that um Arnold had to fight off, are you? Oh no, you're talking about Deshaun Watson. I get it. I get it. You know, just I'm hoping that all of the massage parlors in Cincinnati just shut down for that day, just in case, just to be safe. You know, um, but we all know there'll be some shady, you know, some mildly shady ones that'll be open. Okay, so let's get into the Browns discussion. And you know, on this show, I have a rule. You know, when it's Brown, we want to flush that down. You know, take the Browns to the Super Bowl because it's about the only way they're ever going to get there based on how Jimmy Haslam decides to run this team. He runs it like it's a fucking clown show. And just just add the new tombstone in the Browns QB graveyard. We're gonna add another one here soon enough. Because Deshaun Watson probably, there's just something about it. It would not surprise me one bit if, based on history, you know, of course, could be wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Deshaun Watson doesn't even finish playing through his 5-year guaranteed contract. Um, I just, I don't get it. It smacks of desperation of a level that is just, it's just crazy. The level of desperation that they put out there. So, the way I see this game, and so we did get news. Joe Mixon is going to play. Do know that. I don't know about Hayden Hurst. Haven't heard about that one, and that one's been awfully quiet. So they might hold him out this week. They keep calling it a calf injury, and I'm thinking like, was it a real bad bruise or something, or what? So I hope that's not something that lingers, but it doesn't sound like it's real serious either. Maybe just being cautious. Um, as far as the Browns go, I don't even know who's inactive. Let's see here. Bengals Browns inactives. Injury report. Let's see here. Okay. Mixon and Njoku are expected to play this week. This is from Cincy Juggle. They usually do a real good job. Of course, nobody's. Got a whole bunch of people here did not practice on Wednesday, although for a lot of people who are dinged up, they usually don't anyway. Um, AJ Green's on the Brown. That's cornerback AJ Green. I was about to say, I was like, I thought he was still on the Cardinals. Um, Denzel Ward didn't participate yesterday. Anthony Schwartz didn't participate yesterday. Is this is yesterday's. I have one for today. Oh, okay, here we go. Browns Digest Fan Nation. Okay. Not gonna show me an actual. Okay. Browns Nation only talking about the potential Bengals. Come on, there's got to be one for. There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Okay. Tweet from Mary Kay Cabot, who is super reliable when it comes to Browns information. Um, da, 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 da. Joe Batonio, Jadeveon Clowney, Amari Cooper, Miles Garrett all got rest, so they did not participate. Cornerback A Green. I don't know. It probably wasn't AJ Green, by the way. It was A Green. He didn't practice. Hudson, their tackle, did not practice. Schwartz, wide receiver, did not practice. Ward, ankle/illness. That's a kitchen sink type designation there. Didn't practice on Wednesday. Don't know if he's going to. Don't have anything for the 8th. I don't know why we don't have anything for today. I mean, I would have thought they would have announced that, but whatever. Oh, here we go. We got an updated one. Sorry. I knew if I looked hard enough, right? Let's see. Tight end Brown didn't practice. Conklin, tackle, rest, didn't practice. And defensive end Winovich didn't practice. That doesn't sound like much. Most everybody else limited or full. Looks like almost everybody's going to play. Hurst didn't practice. Hasn't practiced yesterday or today. Higgins and Hubbard were limited. Bates and Mixon were full. So that's it. That's all there is to it. So this is my feelings on this game. This is absolutely 100% a revenge game because the last time the Bengals played the Browns, they got absolutely humiliated. And it was one of those games that was so bad. Of course, all of the snap judgment, Monday morning quarterbacking was like, oh my gosh, the Bengals are they're just done. They're going for they're competing for the first overall pick. Blah 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 blah. See, season's over. Pack it up, go home. And it just felt like a game that that does happen once in a while where it just got away from them so fast, and it just so quickly. It was just crazy town, But I do think this is going to be a revenge game. I do think these Bengals have not forgotten, and I bet all of that material is up on the bulletin board in the locker room. And I am betting that they have got this pegged as a revenge game. They're never going to say it out loud. These Bengals don't trash talk very much. They might respond a little bit, but they don't usually start the trash talk. And so I really think there's three things that I've highlighted. Of course, there's more things that are required to win a game, but there's like three big things that if they can do these, I think this puts them in a really, really good chance to win. The first thing is blocking for Joe and Joe. Because they've already announced Mixon is the starter, period. End of story. I do think we're going to see more Pirine as not as just a third down, throw him in there because he's better at pass blocking type thing, but as maybe like give Joe a series off because they've seen that they can totally do that. But they need to block for Joe and Joe. And that means Clowney and Garrett. And they need to give Joe just enough time. It doesn't have to be a day and a half back there. He doesn't have to be able to, flip out a folding chair and get him some little Country Time lemonade with a little frilly umbrella in it or anything. And he just needs a little bit of time. And so I imagine they are working on figuring out how to make that happen. The other ones contain Nick Chubb. Defense has got to step up on this one. They have to be able to keep Nick Chubb under wraps. And whatever they did, whatever secret sauce they had for Derrick Henry, I'm not saying they're the same type of back, but that's probably a good place to start. Because if you can stop Derrick Henry, physically speaking, you can do that and stop Chubb. I don't know difference between the Cleveland O-line versus the Titans O-line, but I'm willing to bet that that's a decent place to start. You've got to contain Nick Chubb. You've got to keep him from getting ahead of steam. You've got to keep him from getting to the point where he feels like he's got confidence that he's affecting the game. They snatched the soul out of Derrick Henry. You could see it in halfway through the first half, first 2 or 3 possessions. Derrick Henry's already starting to get irritated. And then I think the other key is pressure Watson. He is rusty. He is not seeing things at game speed. And I feel like there is just such an opportunity to put enough pressure on him to get squirrely and run or chuck a ball or, put a ball in a position where it can be knocked out of his hand. I just feel like there's so much potential there to make a rusty quarterback look terrible. But the caveat to that is if you don't, you're going to give him a fast track to getting back to being the old Deshaun Watson, which we don't want to see. So I think if you pressure Watson, I think if you keep the pressure up on him, and of course, hopefully with a 4-man rush so that you don't have to, sacrifice the coverages you'd like to run. But I think those things are the 3 big keys right there. So my projections. I'm feeling like this is going to be I predict that the Cincinnati Bengals players and coaches are going to wake up on Sunday morning and choose violence. I predict they are going to be so laser focused. They are going to be so precise. And they really, really, really want to deliver the same kind of butt whooping that Cleveland did to them right back to them. I'm calling it 31-17. Yep. That's what I'm calling it. 31-17. Travis, you're upping me a little bit on this one. 37-17. Hey, I will be even happier with that. This is a team that beat the Texans 27-14. Get out of my way, stupid pop-up video. God, NFL.com is a little annoying about that. They really want to pop that video up at you. 27-14, and almost none of it had to do with Deshaun Watson. It was like, 2 defensive touchdowns and a punt return or something like that? And then a couple field goals. So, yeah, and Travis, if you're right, boy, believe me, I'd be thrilled. 37-17, yeah, that'd be great. I'm going to go 31-17, and that's 14 points. I'm saying it's a 2-touchdown margin of victory. That's what I'm going for, is 2 touchdowns. I hope it's, I'd be thrilled if it's like, I don't know, 50-something to 0. I hope it's a shutout. But realistically, I think the Browns will eventually score some points. And, that's where I'm at. I'm 31-17. I'm thinking in terms of a 2-touchdown margin of victory. And Bengals win at home, puts us 2-3 in the 2-3 in the division, and gets us 1 game closer to the promised land. So, that's good stuff. So, I'm going to wrap it up. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, your comments, and, obviously I'm going to talk to you about liking, sharing, and subscribing again. I don't know if you've heard me. Stop me if you've heard me about this one before. But it really does help sharing the videos. Like I said, if you comment after the fact, it's perfectly fine. Don't care. I will still get the notification about it, and or ask a question. I'll still get that too, and I'll get back to you about that. But it really does help the channel. If you can share the channel out and encourage your friends and your areas of social media to subscribe, that would be great. I'm working on currently working on getting some trying to get the watch hours up on the channel, because that's the one thing that's lagging a little bit right now. And then that eventually that'll get monetization, which unfortunately means you'll have to watch a dumb ad or two. I've thought about getting some of my own monetization, maybe sponsors or something like that. Um, I just there's only so many hours in the day, and it's really it takes, especially during the season right now. That might be something I might look into after the Bengal season is over, when I have a little bit more time. But I will be starting a couple new, I don't know what you want to call it, but a couple new playlists or um, video themes on the channel. They're not Bengals related, so I'm sorry if this is boring to you. But being Way of the Dad and being being a dad is a big deal to me for lots of reasons, of many of which I'll eventually get into on the channel. But it's a lot of my history growing up. And I've when it was still just an audio podcast, I did do some more life lessons, dad lessons I learned watching, my stepdad or another male figure or something like that, right? And I will still do some of those. I will be getting around to those. I have a few bouncing around that I'm kind of trying to make sure this is now the right time for me to talk about this. Are my thoughts fully formed on this one? And I know it's one of those things that once it's out, it's like a snapshot in time, and 3 years later, I could feel differently about it. So everything, that's the problem when you watch videos on somebody's opinion on something. It's a snapshot in time. But some of these are ones that it wouldn't matter if I put them out now or later. I want to be fairly settled on my thoughts and feelings about some of these things. And but I still like talking about movies, pop culture, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, things like that, right? I'm a total movie nerd. One of my favorite things as a kid was going to the theater. It was just my favorite thing to do. Not that I didn't love running around playing with my friends and riding bikes and all that stuff. I mean I'm pure Gen X, okay? Um, but the coolest thing in the world was going to the movie theater and getting that popcorn and sitting in those seats and seeing that gigantic screen, because screens weren't that big in the house yet, back in the 80s. The biggest screen was like, what, 36-inch tube TV, give or take. And if you wanted more than that, you had to have a projector, and those things were loud, and they were hot, and you had to, it just wasn't like it is today. I mean, we're absolutely, I got a 65-inch OLED TV, and it's crazy how good stuff looks now. You can get a cheap TV, and they look amazing. I don't mean cheap as in a bad way. I'm just saying as far as you didn't spend a lot of money, bought it new from Walmart or wherever, and it still looks really good. It may not be, quote unquote, premium home theater grade, but whatever, it still looks really good. It's crazy how good stuff looks. Stuff didn't look like that back then. When you went to the theater, it was mind-blowing. The only thing that kind of creates that feeling right now is generally like going to an IMAX, like a true IMAX. But so I still like to do that stuff, and I'm going to start a series of reviews eventually. And of course, I'm going to build this playlist. It'll be in a playlist on the channel. I actually do a fair job of making sure that my videos go into playlists. These go into live streams and Bengals talks, Bengals discussions. But I'm going to be talking about movies, not quite a review specifically, but movies that have a strong father and son as either a massive portion of the movie or the heart of the movie. And then I'm also going to do ones with that father-daughter relationship, and then ones where they just show a good dad. Because there's so many examples of bad dads right now. I'm trying to think what the hell the commercial is. You'll see it on football Sundays. It absolutely drives me nuts. Me and my buddy know. Every time it comes on, he goes, "Oh God, here's this commercial again." And I think it's progressive where there was one where like the I don't know, wife and husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. They're out in the woods, they're camping, and she's saying, "Did you bring this thing?" And he's like, "Well, I know. You said you were going to bring this thing." And she goes, "No, I know you said you were going to bring this thing." He goes, "Okay." And he's like pulls out the challenge flag like the refs do. And then it shows, "Oh yeah, actually I was a total doofus and I didn't bring the thing." And then the other one with the it's a African American father and son, and the son is basically claiming that the dad like screamed like a little girl because there was a spider on the floor, and the dad's like, "No, I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about." And "Oh yeah, you didn't. Oh yeah, you did." And the dad pulls out the challenge flag, and oh no, the dad was a gigantic wussy. I'm so tired of seeing men and dads being portrayed as gigantic children, poorly trained monkeys. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Are there those out there? Yes, there are. Let's be honest. I'm not stupid. I've met a lot. But when you put that in a commercial, and I don't think that all these commercials, these marketing companies go out of their way to do these with these commercials, but it's just one of those things that really drives me nuts. And so um, so I'm gonna do some movie reviews on good father and son movies, good father and daughter movies, and then just good dad movies where the dad he's good, he's competent, he's intelligent, and he's you know putting himself in harm's way for his children or doing whatever it takes to get back to his children or whatever it is. Of course, a lot of these are going to be action slash sci-fi slash maybe action adventure, and there might even be some animated movies in here too. I'm not immune to those. I have kids. I watched a whole bunch of Pixar back in the day, and um, Illumination Entertainment and DreamWorks and stuff like that, right? So I'm going to do some of those. That'll be fairly fun. Um, I will be coming up with my first one relatively soon, but I'll probably try to premiere that one. Give a heads up on it. But that's going to do it for tonight. It is Thursday night. I hope everybody has a really great Friday and a great weekend leading up to 1 p.m. on Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. And, well, if you're drinking with me, that's a fair amount. Cheers. Tagai. So until next time, Who-Dey, take care, and have a great